Hi, good evening, everyone. Today we are going to go ahead and discuss what is important from the point of view of Ashoka University. Since the exam of Ashoka University is just ahead, we must go ahead and understand what is important and what should be prepared. Now, in 2019, if I talk about the paper, I'll talk about all of them, and then 2020 and 21 also. We saw that, let's start with 2019. There were 50 questions. And that it was a 3 hours paper. Right? And then in 2020, we saw that it was actually a 2.5 hour paper. And there were 40 questions. Okay. And 2021, the paper, because they do not get their papers out, they're yet to know what is the time span for which the paper was conducted. So there is no fixed pattern as to how many questions are asked. There is no fixed pattern on what is the time period or time span for it. But more or less, the pattern is you should expect anything from 35 to 60 questions. And you can go ahead and expect the time span to be anything between 2 to 3 hours. Actually, I don't think they will even exceed 50 questions. Not more than 50 is what is expected. So 35 to 50 questions coming for a period of 2 to 3 hours. Now let's go ahead and talk about the different sections. So the first section that is asked in this exam is the section related to statistics. I usually divide the entire statistics in 4 main parts. The first statistics is related to the measures like mean, median, mode, all central tendencies, skewness, kurtosis, etc. The second part of statistics is completely related to probability distribution. This is one of the most important topics across different entrance exams. Not only for this entrance exam, but across different entrance exams, you will see this as the most important. I mean, it's so important that I prefer doing a separate book altogether only for probability distribution. It's that important. The third topic that is there is hypothesis testing, in which you should know t-test, f-test, z-test, etc. And the fourth topic that I like to divide it into is basically the basic econometrics. Right? These are the 4 main topics that you should be preparing for MA Economics entrance exam. Now, as far as section A is concerned, there were 10 questions. These were compulsory questions. And they're not easy. They are from medium to difficult level, because it's a good university, right? It's a very good university. So you can expect them to be of the level of ISI, DSC, IIT Economics entrance exam. So they're good questions, and the questions come from, and I should highly alert you, one of the very important topic which I feel is important for this entrance exam, this year's entrance exam is the maximum likelihood estimator. I'm expecting a sure short question this year on maximum likelihood estimator. Now let's go to the second part. So section B. This is basically analytical reasoning. This is very, very scoring. In analytical reasoning, you had 10 questions. Again, compulsory questions. And, you know, these are those statement questions. If this, then this. Then you have Venn diagram questions, questions related to conclusions. Then, you know, you have, questions like this, that, you know, if all cars are electric vehicles and all electric vehicles are pollution free, something like that, then which of the following is true? Right. So 10 such questions which would be coming for the part B. Now, in part B, I also would suggest students to go ahead and do set theory, to go ahead and to study maths initial part, the part that the videos that we did, the lecture videos on logic, they're very important. You have to go ahead and do those videos. So that is very, very important for your section B. Now, along with this, you know, there are questions which come related to logical reasoning, which come from English also. So these are the scoring, you know, you can score well. So good score questions, right? Sometimes they will ask you fill in the blanks also. They will give you some, something like, something like this. So a good economic policy is dash if it has to reduce inflation, it should, something like this, dash. So they'll give you some fill in the blanks also. These are the kind of questions that they ask. Now, this is something that is across IGIDR and Ashoka and some part of Terry JNU also, that you get such fill in the blank questions. Okay. Then you get questions related to conclusions also in this case. So reasoning questions are also equally important. Then finally, you have section C. This section C is basically related to economics. In section C, you get good microeconomics question. Very, very close to ISI DSC. Now, what are the important topics here? Of course, consumer theory. Especially, you know, DSC people, ISI people, Ashoka people, they love general equilibrium. So it's a separate topic connecting consumer and producer also. So general equilibrium becomes very important. Then you have markets. You know, whether it is ISI, DSC, Ashoka, or whether it is IIT JAM, all of these will ask you at least one question related to monopoly, related to oligopoly, in which they will ask you Bertrand model, Stackelberg, they'll ask you what is your Cournot model, right? So that is something which is Definitely going to come. So you have to go ahead and you have to spend enough time on these kind of questions. And my suggestion has always been, as I've always been telling my students, see, either you do all my assignments and nothing else. My assignments would cover questions from Varian, it would cover questions from Snyder, it would cover all the past years, it will cover all the mock tests, everything. So either you do these assignments and done, or at least do Varian workbook plus Snyder back questions. Both of these are equally important for this exam. You will see that actually few of the questions that came in exam were very similar to what Varian had asked, in the workbook. So that ways, actually once it was exactly the same. This is amazing how they exactly asked the same question in the exam. So this becomes your Bible. You have to follow this book thoroughly. All questions have to be practiced. Okay. Then after that, as I told you, you have to go ahead and do your general equilibrium questions. They are important. And you have to try and understand different utility functions. Okay. Why do I dedicate my first 5 classes only on utility function? So that you know how to solve max, min, substitute goods, etc. This is very important. You have to thoroughly do all these utility functions. So something like this came in exam. So utility of the individual was given as a minus 1/4b square, or the utility function given was a plus 2 root b. You should know how to deal with linear functions, quasi-linear functions, what are quasi-linear functions, etc. Right? So this is also very important. And then section 4. This is complete mathematics. Okay, only maths is going to come here. So you have to go ahead and you have to understand set theory, differentiation and its application, integration and its application, linear algebra. These are the important topics that you should go ahead and do in this topic in maths. So more or less, this is what comes as part of your Ashoka entrance exam paper. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can go ahead, write it, or you can post it in my app, and I'll go ahead and I'll solve all those doubts also. Okay, thank you.